Hello, it's been a while since I did my last pickup video, so I thought it was about time I just kind of got all the stuff together that I'd picked up over the last couple of weeks and did another one of these riveting, rambling, pretty crap videos really. Some people like watching them, you're obviously watching it now so you must do, so I'll continue. Now, since my last video, I think it was the one in the woods, I don't think I've done another one since then. I have been fortunate enough to get quite a few games for different consoles. Not just games, but a bit of, not hardware as such, but a few peripherals as well. I think pick up is the wrong term. Some of it's been from eBay, some of it's been sent by friends. Some of them have been found in shops, but it's a mixture really. So eBay, in shops, and some people have sent me some stuff which I will obviously give kudos to once I get to those. As well as that, if you do watch of my other videos which aren't like this, where I'm just talking at the camera, you'll probably have seen one or two of the things that I'm going to show you now. And also likewise, if you do follow me on Twitter, I do have a tendency to just tweet the things that I've picked up, and likewise on my website, the Dreamcast Junkyard, if anyone's familiar with that. Again, there's quite a few things here around my feet that you will more than likely have seen on there before this video. So I'm just going to jump straight in, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that a guy that I've never met the guy, but I know him through the internet, through the wonders of technology, and we speak on Twitter, and he comments on the Dreamcast Junkyard. And a couple of weeks ago, sorry, a couple of months ago even, I tweeted that I was looking for a couple of particular games that were only released in the United States, NTSC-U games for the Dreamcast, because I wanted to do a feature on this particular genre, and they're space shooters, which I did finally get to write, and was quite well received on the site. His name is, I won't give his real name, but his actual name on the internet or on YouTube is PC Wizard, or PC Wizard 13. He's mentioned me a couple of times in his videos, and he's got my name wrong and then right, and then so. But he very kindly, he lives in America. He's American, obviously. Not that you have to be American to live in America, but he's American. He sent me Bang Gunship Elite. I'm always worried because I'm using an iPad, as I always say. I have to try and stop it reflecting in the screen and creating some kind of weird infinity loop and destroying the internet. But yeah, there's Bang Gunship Elite. This was a first-person perspective space shooter that was only released in America on the PC and the Dreamcast. It's really good, to be honest. I can't understand for the life of me why they never released it in the UK. It probably would have gone down a storm here, as did things like Starlancer. So there's that one, Bang Gunship Elite. And then also another one that was never released here is Armada, which is it's in the same vein, but it's not the same style. It's more of like a sort of top-down isometric view. It's more of an RPG as well, where you kind of fly around and you've got to get coordinates and stuff, and you've got to go to different planets and different systems. One thing I do note about the American Dreamcast packaging is that sometimes the black and sometimes the white, and I don't really know why. All the PAL games come in those horrendous blue. There's one, for example, where the sort of hinges always break off. So all the PAL games are pretty much in these boxes with that particular style. Whereas with the American boxes, you get these two, and then there's another one with an orange bit in the side, which I think is like a budget range. I just thought it was worth mentioning because it's something I've noticed. Not asking anyone to tell me why, I just thought I'd bring it up. So there's those two. Thank you to him for sending those over from the States, as it's known by everyone. Okay, the next things I got are a couple of Game Boy Advance games. I absolutely love the Game Boy Advance. The SP is probably when I can speak, my favourite console, handheld console, other than the Vita. It's the one I spend the most time playing handheld wise. It's that and the Vita. So I got a couple of games. There's a game shop near me. I'm going to give away my location now, but it's in a place called Bournemouth. It's called Whereas, and they've got quite a lot of quite reasonably priced retro games. and so I picked up this one. Oh, there's the camera. Yoshi's Island, which is Super Mario Advance 3 for the Game Boy Advance, and then one I've been after for absolutely ages for a decent price, because this one comes up on eBay quite a bit, and it's never less than 30 quid. And I've seen it go for more than like 70, and I don't understand why, but it is Doom 2, and it's an absolutely brilliant conversion of Doom. If you've seen my other videos, I did do a comparison between all the different versions of Doom and then the other versions of Doom 2, and that's the version I used in the Doom 2 video. Technically it's superb for the Game Boy Advance. You do get little things like the blood is green and the enemies disappear after you've killed them, but for a Game Boy Advance game, Doom 2 on the go on a Game Boy Advance SP101 with the backlit screen is just phenomenal. So yeah, pick those two up. Happy with those. So what I'll do is I'll just tell you the things I got in that shop, to be honest. So another thing I picked up in Juarez is a Saturn game, Sonic Jam. Pretty sure everyone's heard of this. It's a compilation. This fallen down inside the box, but it's a compilation of the Sonic games on the Saturn, and you get the 3D hub world as well, which is quite nice, and just showed what the Saturn was capable of doing with the 3D engine. Got loads of like artwork, cartoons, FMVs. Weirdly, you don't get Sonic CD on this compilation. You only get Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles. But it's a nice compilation nonetheless, and I think that was like 7 quid, so I'm not complaining. And that was a good buy with the book and everything. Great stuff. This other one was 4 quid. This one was one that my girlfriend wanted because she's not into gaming at all, to be honest. She comes in here and she's like, she just rolls her eyes and she's like, what have you bought now, kind of thing. But she told me that when she was younger, when she lived, obviously when she was like maybe 7 or 8 with her younger sister, they had a Sega Mega Drive, and the only game that they had, or one of the only games they had, was this, Tiny Toon Adventures. So when she saw it in the shop, her eyes just lit up and she's like, oh, I need to get that, I need to get that. And it turns out it's actually a pretty good game, to be honest. And it was weird that she started playing it on the Multi-Mega, and she's like, oh, that doesn't look like a Mega Drive. And I'm like, no, seriously, it's a Mega Drive. It's not the same one that you had. She's like, oh, all right then. So I plugged it in and gave her the pad, and she started playing it, and I was just stood there watching her play it. And she knew like where everything was from like way back when. And she even like rang her sister up and said, I'm playing Tiny Toons Adventure. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, Tiny Toons, that was like 4 quid as well. Okay, moving on. I'll continue with the shop stuff. So another shop near me which sells, they don't have a massive selection of retro stuff in inverted commas, but they do have quite a few original Xbox games, and they're quite reasonably priced as well, and like these were like 2 quid each, or $2.99 each. So I've got 4x4 Evolution. I've got the first one on the Dreamcast, 4x4 Evolution, another one that was never released in the UK, which is quite a good game, to be honest, and so I thought I'd pick this one up because it's quite unusual. You don't see it very often in the wild, and it is a pretty good game. Next one is Crimson Skies, which is another one. I think it was quite an early release on the original Xbox, and one of the first like true Xbox Live like online multiplayer games that really took off. Excuse the pun, it's a playing game. But yeah, that's another one that I've heard good things about. I've actually not played this one yet. And the last one is one that I picked up for somebody else because I know that they're collecting like weird and wonderful and really unusual Xbox original games, and this one is one that I personally didn't even know existed until I saw it, and then when I did a little bit of research, turns out it's actually quite uncommon, and it's Operation Winback 2, Project Poseidon. The original Winback was an N64 game, and then they re-released it on the PS2 and the Xbox, but Winback 2 I'd never even heard of, so I picked that one up again. It's 2 quid, but if you go on eBay it's like 20 quid plus. I've seen it for 30 as well, so that's quite good. Right, all this stuff that's coming next, so I keep looking at the screen, not at the camera, is pretty much eBay exclusive. Some of them are not really games, but you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. Okay, the first, I say thing, it's a collection of things, are these, and you're probably thinking, what the hell has he got in his hand? These are demo discs. Nothing exciting about that, obviously, but when you understand what they are, these are the Dreamcast Express demo discs. Now, Dreamcast Express was a series of 7. There's 8 in total. I think there's another one which is like a special edition, which I don't have. A series of 7 sort of preview discs that Sega of Japan offered to people who signed up for the Sega Partners scheme in Japan, obviously. And basically what they are like preview discs. So they've got demos and things like in videos and stuff. They're quite nice. The package, the packages that they come in. Some of them are single disc, which so episode 1 or volume 1, and then some of them are double disc, like this one. So you get the videos on one disc, and all the trials. He says on another disc. So there's 7 in total. I've got them all. They were quite reasonable, to be honest. I've seen them go for a couple of £100. I won the bids on this at like 30 quid, which you may think is daft for what is essentially all demo discs, but very rarely do they come up in like one big collection. You usually get 1 maybe or 2 that pops up, but altogether I was quite happy with that, to be honest, and I was quite happy to pay it as well, because I'm a sucker for anything Dreamcast. That being said, I'll leave that for now. The next thing the next thing I got was also Dreamcast related. Well, of a style, Dreamcast. It's the Dream Photo mouse. You're probably thinking, what the hell is that? Dreamcast. You can see it on the thing there. Dreamcast was a clone version of the Dreamcast, like unofficial in every way possible. And so I've got a Dreamcast down here actually, so I can kind of give you a demonstration. So this is a normal Dreamcast. The Dreamcast looked quite similar, but it also had a screen on the top that would fold up and down. It was meant to be portable, but I think you start to plug it in. I know a couple of people who've got them. It comes in like a carry case. It's actually quite a little cool device. The joypad doesn't look anything like a normal Dreamcast joypad. It looks like a Mega Drive joypad, as far as to me anyway. But it was like released in like Hong Kong and China and stuff, and they're actually quite uncommon these days. But the mouse I'd never ever seen before, and apparently it was meant to come with a disc that allowed you to do like photo manipulation or just organise the photos and things. The mouse is actually here, so it's just a normal sort of standard mouse. It's got a ball, it's got a little button on the side here that changes the function. It's all in the back of the box. The one thing that's quite interesting about this mouse is that on the joypad connector, it's also got a connection for a VMU. So you plug that into the console and then you plug the VMU into it like so. And it actually looks quite comical really when it's plugged into the console, because you plug that in and then you've got this VMU sticking up like that. Which is quite novel. I suppose it's better than the way that you have to use a VMU with a traditional, official mouse and keyboard, because you have to have the mouse and keyboard in these two, and then you have to have the joypad in the third one with the VMU in it, so that kind of, it takes that away, so you've got the VMU in already, which is quite nice. So yeah, that was the Dreamcast Dream Photo, quite an unusual item. Again, I don't think anyone bid on it because they just didn't know what it was, and that was like 5 quid, so that was a bargain as well. I'm just trying to think of what else I've got that I didn't show. Oh, one other thing that PC Wizard 13 sent me that came with those original Dreamcast games that I showed earlier on, was he put in the package, which is quite nice of him, a Sega Saturn game called Creature Shop, which again is I think it's an America only release, which is pretty cool of him. I haven't got an American Saturn, so I can't play it. I seem to remember reading something that Creature Shop was also going to be a Jaguar CD game, but it obviously never came to the Jag CD. Quite sad really. But eventually I will find a way of playing that and giving that a go. I think it's a bit like D, like an FMV game type thing. Oh yeah. Last thing I got, again, if you follow me on Twitter or you read the Dreamcast Junkyard, you will have already seen this, but it's another Dreamcast bag. This one is the rucksack with the Velcro strap, and it's got Dreamcast written on the back. It's got a big zip, and it also comes with, I actually used this, took it to work today, stuff in the bag. These two detachable pockets actually slot onto the front of the scrap, but they are quite big. So when I was walking to work with those on, I felt like a bit of a numpty, so I took them off and put them in the actual bag. So, but you can use that as like a phone case or something if you so desire. That one's got nothing on it, but they are quite nice and they're quite well made, quite robust. So yeah, the Dreamcast bag. So yeah, since the last video when I was in the woods, I've been quite fortunate in picking things up. I've got other things as well, like on the PS4, downloaded a couple of the free games, on the PS Plus games, Ollie Ollie 2, and Abe's Exodus or Abe's Odyssey, whichever one it is, and Valiant Hearts, and there's been a couple on the Vita as well. Soldner X2, that's a shoot 'em up, 2D shoot 'em up. But yeah, not a bad couple of weeks really. I'm gonna have to calm down a bit, I think, in the oncoming weeks, just because you've got things like Play Expo coming up, which I want to go to, but I'm skint. And yeah, I think I've got quite enough in here, to be honest, to be getting on with. I don't really think I need to be buying much more, unless somebody's got a Neo Geo CD going cheap, and then, you know, it's out the window, isn't it? Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.